I want to jump right into the story that broke this morning on the New York Post, because this is a guy that we've met. He has been on the PBD podcast. He has been here taking photos with our crew. Seemed like a very nice guy, but currently being accused of being a Fed by Elon Musk and a large amount. Well, actually, it's not a large amount. I've actually seen Elon be getting ratioed on his own tweets, on his own platform when he calls Nick a Fed. But
that might be part of the problem.
Yes, that's a point. Are those ratios real? According to the New York Post, there was an article right here that came out this morning. Nick Fuentes, or was that last night? I'm sorry, late last night. Nick Fuentes may be racist, but relies on Nigeria and India to fuel his popularity online. According to a fresh report from Network Contagion Research Institute, they claim that much of Fuentes' online fame is manufactured. So is the Groyper Nation real, or are the Groyper Nation bots? That's the question. According to the report, a significant portion of early engagement on Nick's posts come from foreign bot farms, mainly based in Nigeria, India, Pakistan, and elsewhere. Through his X account, although his X account is only about 1.1 million followers, the algorithms, he has been on my feed every single day. And I don't dislike Nick Fuentes. I don't co-sign with some of the language that he may use. I don't agree with every one of his viewpoints, but much like Candace Owens, like you spoke about just a few minutes ago, a very effective communicator. He is really good at what he does. I've been in broadcasting since I was 17 years old, so we're going on 22 years. This guy is way more of an effective broadcaster than I ever have been and ever will be, and he's done it in a tenth of the time. I watch what this guy does, and I have nothing but respect for his following and what he does online. But is that following real? According to the research, the actual support that he is getting online is an organic growth. It's more of a coordinated effort to distort perception and give Fuentes outsized influence. Some experts warn this mirrors classic foreign interference tactics, weaponizing fringe voices, which he is, to destabilize mainstream politics. I know that there was a chart. Were you able to grab the chart that was out there? There it is. Is there any way we can punch in on that, or could you read that? Because I can't see it from here.
This is part of it. But one of the things I wanted to highlight with this photo is that here is Elon Musk once again calling him a Fed.
Yep.
And then Nick saying, I've testified to Congress under oath that I've never spoken to or cooperated with federal law enforcement. If you or Candace Owens have any proof otherwise, then you should call your friend the president and get me charged for perjury. But this also does show some of the charts that were available in that report from the Network Contagion Research Institute, or NCRI, which how many retweets he gets and how fast he does it in, comparing Nick Fuentes, which is the red column, to other major accounts, including Elon Musk, Hassan Piker, Ian Carroll, and Destiny. So you see his immediate engagement after he posts is way higher, which suggests that there are accounts primed to interact with his content, according to this report anyway.
And I've never seen our chat explodes with, when we talk about Candace, it explodes with Candace people and supporters. When we talk about Nick Fuentes, even when we don't talk about Nick Fuentes, the Groypers, if they're even real, are flooding the chat with the frog emoji. Before we had Nick Fuentes on, bring on Nick Fuentes, bring on Nick Fuentes, frog emoji, frog emoji, frog emoji. You won't bring on Nick Fuentes, you're scared. Then we had Netanyahu on. Then it really amplified for like a week. And we did that knowing that we had Nick Fuentes coming on 3 weeks later. And then all of a sudden, if they were real, the Groyper army got on our side. Or the bots that are running them. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't even know how bot farming works. I'm not even in touch with any of this. Are any of you, you have a channel with 1.06 million subscribers. Are you aware of bot farming? Have you ever seen this happen in your content creation journey?
I've never done it, but I know that it is a thing. But I look at this graph and I question, in other words, if we're saying he's popping up on your feed because of this, meaning this is an effective strategy to grow and gain attention, I would just wonder, why are other people not doing it? And if the answer to that is anything other than, well, you just pay cash for it and you get it, then it's like, what is the infrastructure? What is the system? What are the connections sort of behind him that allow him to have access to that growth and attention and everything else that everybody else desires and wants? What competitive advantage does he have? What is he accessing that other people aren't? I think if that's true, there's I think a bigger question behind that, to use Candace's power of suggestion.
So I'll ask the question, is Nick Fuentes a Fed at the end of this? But before we get to that point, Humberto, you know YouTube in and out. You've been utilizing YouTube since its beginning. I don't know anybody who has a better understanding of algorithms and the way that that platform works than you. What is your experience with bot farming bots? Do you believe that Nick Fuentes has a bot army instead of a Groyper army?
Have you guys had In and Out before?
Yes.
All right. Okay. People say it's overhyped, but then you go have it and it's delicious. It's tremendous. Two things can be true at the same time. Like someone I know very closely used to run this campaign sometime in the past, somewhere else. And sometimes when you find something that is good for your cause, like, for example, if I want to warn people about the dangers of anti-Red Bull, all right, and I find an anti-Red Bull advocate, without his consent, I will put money and bot farms behind him for my objective. He will never be involved in this cycle. If you try Nick's content, it's contagious. Like, sometimes I catch myself watching him. I'm like, oh my God, there's some good TV right here, all right? And you put a little money behind it, you give it a little push, it gets bigger on the algorithms. That's how the algorithms are built. Like, whatever gets people watching for the longest, it gets pushed up. You know, because if I push someone else that is not as electric as Nick, bot farming campaign won't work. You know, like if I put me talking on the microphone, like nobody will care. They can put as many bots as they want, it's not gonna pick up. So I think this could be a mix of both.
Here it is. Here's the tweet. And Connor, I'll go to you for your input as well. Elon Musk, he's a Fed. 3.6 thousand likes, 2,000 retweets, 3.6 thousand comments, 2,000 retweets, 17,000 likes, and it was seen 6.5 million times. And Humberto, if you could explain to the people at home that may not know what ratioing is, what is it when you get ratioed online? When you're on Twitter and somebody ratios you, what's that mean?
Basically, when you have more comments than like, that means getting ratioed. So the ratio of likes is lower than the ratio of comments. So they're calling you, whatever they want to call you online.
But again, this is kind of a circular argument,
Connor, your
though,
TV went
right?
out. Oh.
So here we go. I don't know if you can see this.
We can't.
In there.
Go ahead. Can you read the stats?
Yeah. So Nick's post has 4.9K retweets, 106,000 likes, my own included because it was funny, compared to Elon's 17,000 right now. And the ratio of likes to comments is what he was pushing for.
Do you find anything about Nick Fuentes' rise unorganic, manufactured?
So like Humberto, I agree that there are things about it that could be
inorganic,
a tad bit suspicious, maybe without even his knowledge. If there are people who are interested in seeing him take off, they might push one of those bot farming operations behind him without even him knowing about it. But the thing is, I know Groypers in real life. I have spoken to and interacted with people who have been watching Nick since he was like 19, 20. Like, since he first got started, they've been subscribed to his thing. I've been watching his show. They follow him. Some of them even are in his chat on a regular basis. There's whole group chats of people I've been around who just talk about how much they like Nick. These are all white American guys who were born and raised here. They are not Indians. They are not Nigerians. They are not bots. So there are people who organically like Nick Fuentes. His platform is growing because there is that push for the center of the conversation is not accomplishing anything. We are going to the fringes to try to find solutions. There is a place at the table for those sorts of things. But that's really my argument about Nick Fuentes has always been. I don't care about, or like only care to a certain extent about what he experienced when he was young. Like his whole interaction with the Daily Wire guys and what he used to do when he was in college and all the ways they pushed him out. Like, yeah, that's great. But at some point, you have to get past the biography and start talking about the actual ideas. So if his engagement is all Indians and Nigerians, so what? Is he wrong? If it's a bot farming operation that made him popular, that's one conversation to have. But are his ideas wrong? You have to address the substance of the argument rather than just debate the methods and the person responsible for them. Nick says a lot of insane, inflammatory things. Some of them have merit to them, some of them do not. And there's a whole room for the debate there. But discuss the substance of the ideas, not whether you think his platform is inorganic.
So it's plausible that either he could have this inorganic, I said unorganic, like an idiot, inorganic growth due to bots? If so, he may be involved in it. He may have no idea. It could be the work. Could it be the work of a foreign government working on behalf?
It could be.
That not having him be involved whatsoever, but trying to sow division within this right.
Fuentes is the real Jewish psyop.
And the other thing, it's all their own doing. Because, for example, this guy, 1 million subscriber guy, all right? He's sitting right here. I roughly know how many people are going to interact with your content at any given time because I've been doing this for 18 years. I know a YouTube influencer will get this many likes, this many comments. He will be this influential. But he doesn't have a flagship product that we know the true scope of his following, you know, because he was banned from Twitter, he was banned from YouTube, so he was banned multiple times. So we don't know the real size of his audience, you know what I mean?
So the next question becomes, and this is something you were touching on, the funding of what it would take to, if he was behind these bot farms, where do you get the money to go and fund bot farming? Could Nick Fuentes be a Fed? Does anybody give any credence to what Elon Musk is claiming right here in this tweet on December 5th, that Nick Fuentes is a Fed? Does anybody in this room believe that he is a Fed? Like you mentioned, deplatformed, debanked, demonetized, silenced. Doesn't seem like those would be the traits of someone who is working on behalf of the federal government, unless this was some type of long thought out process where they're like, hey, we're going to demonetize you, we're going to deplatform you, it's going to suck for 2 years, but the long game, you're going to be massive when we let you back on the platform.
Or alternatively, there's something organic happening across those years, and then in such a time as this, he becomes a useful tool or pawn for a certain purpose, and all of a sudden, can you go back to, I don't know if we're able to go back to that chart, but the thing that I'm skeptical of in particular is how dramatically he's outperforming all these other people. That to me does not feel organic unless we're looking at a really narrow slice of time and we're saying like in this 1 week period right after Charlie Kirk or something like that. But if you're telling me that's like a year worth of data or something, I'm gonna really question that.
So this is what the NCRI put out. And I'm not questioning their methodology. They published the whole report. We can go dissect that another time. We'll post a link in the description for anyone who wants to go read that for themselves. It's a big allegation. They have data to back it up. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But you do have to ask what the organization's deal is, why they even want to study this in the first place. Because when you look at it, this is who they're affiliated with. They're backed by United Nations, Anti-Defamation League, Open Society Foundation, and the Koch Foundation as well.
So the report that Nick Fuentes has a manufactured following online may have come from a place where they manufacture information to paint a narrative that Nick Fuentes is manufactured.
Just because I found it relevant, I wouldn't necessarily dive in on this. Here's just from their Wikipedia page. The NCRI was founded in 2018 as a nonprofit organization by psychologist and neuroscientist Joel Finkelstein. So again, you see someone who, like clearly, Joel Finkelstein might have a reason to strongly dislike what Nick Fuentes has to say.
Nick Finkelstein, the author?
And I'm not saying that means there's any sort of underhanded manipulation of data, any lies being told here. For all I know, this is true. I have not dug fully into their methodology to verify it one way or the other. I'm just saying, when a report like this comes out that is like a damning indictment of a person, we are at a point where you have to question where it's coming from as well. So I think that's worth discussing.
I found Joel's LinkedIn account, Chief Science Officer, co-founder of the Network Contagion Research Institute, fellow at the Miller Institute for Secure Committees at Rutgers University. According to his About Me on his LinkedIn, I am a psychologist, neuroscientist who studies the rise of incitement and information disorder in online social platforms. I work to deliver strategic analysis and solutions that can help us advocate for even-handedness and transparency. I speak to media, policymakers, advocacy groups, and investigators to help turn tools for social science into tools for honest conversation.
Yeah. So you can tell.
I have to say, though, I have a problem with the idea of his last name sounds Jewish, therefore he's less reliable. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't go there personally.
Yeah, I'm not making the claim that he's any less reliable because of it. I'm saying that there is the connection of like Nick Fuentes does not like Jewish people, and there becomes a very clear reason why someone who is Jewish and runs an organization like this would have a reason to see Nick Fuentes as a threat. And
And
I'm not saying he's unjustified.
And Finkelstein also has a history working with the Anti-Defamation League outside of the Network Contagion Research Institute. He actually worked with the Anti-Defamation League as a research fellow from December 2018 to October of 2020. So almost a year and a half of time spent, almost 2 years of time spent with the ADL. Obviously an organization that
They have a very complicated history.
It is. It's very difficult to even
I-
describe what they do. Go ahead.
We don't even need that route. Like you have the Global Communist Party, aka the UN. They coined the term misinformation. That doesn't really mean anything. All right, it's information we don't like, but it's being spread. So you just need to see the UN there. Like you don't need any last names or any weird routes. Those guys. If you see what happened with the EU last week, they're trying to find Elon Musk for for having an open platform.
Well, all that I'm saying is you have to be careful with that type of thinking as well, because you can fall into the trap of, because NASA lied about this particular thing, the Earth is flat. Like,
Oh no, there's nothing good about the UN ever. Like there's nothing good about the
they
UN.
can't give out any accurate information.
No accurate information.
So
coming out
if
of
they
the
put it
UN.
out, it is false.
If the UN is involved on anything, it's false or misleading. They're the biggest.
Or at least to moderate on that, because of their track record with many of these key issues,
Connor,
the default position should be
had
skepticism rather than
a
trust.
communist terrorist, ex-terrorist, as the head of the WHO, all right, the World Health Organization. They're against Christ. They're against everything that is family. They're against, like, they've been working on Africa for the past 30 years, and the situation keeps on getting worse. Like, they haven't done anything for this planet. It's just like a communist, Marxist organization that nobody votes for and we all pay for. And whenever I see that logo there, like, I'm immediately against
It's the same problem of institutional credibility that every other facet of society has, where when the FBI puts out a statement, you do not have to immediately assume they are lying to you, but the default position is now one of skepticism rather than one of trust. And
That's basically all that I'm saying is
investment.
we should just. I want to know more about this study. I want to know across how much time did it take place. I want to understand how it was conducted in order to see if there is a sleight of hand going on. Because if there is, we should know about that. We should call that out and we should say, dude, this is like misinformation. And studies can easily be done in a way that is misleading, to be clear.
I agree, but this right here is a technique. They've done it against me. Like, if you look up my name that I wanted to say on the show, they've done the same type of study. Like, whenever I got traction online, they did newspaper studies, articles, and everything on the rise of the right wing in somewhere that I can't name. But they do this all the time. Whenever at the faction they don't like these, they launch these fake studies. This is very, like, numbers. They're so easy to dress up however you want to dress them
No,
up.
I agree. I'm just saying we have to take it on a case-by-case basis, or else our logic becomes if they say 2 + 2 is 4, then it doesn't because they said it. And I'm saying that's a bad way of assessing what is true. We have to be skeptical, like
Yeah.
you said, and have a default position of skepticism. But at the same time, we can't default into it must be false just because they said it.
It's very interesting. Apparently, digging into the actual report, they studied their 20 most recent tweets dating from November 6th or 7th, 2025 backwards. So this is a study based on 20 tweets in November of this year.
20
it's not,
tweets?
20 tweets in November of this
You're
year.
right on the money.
It's not a long-term
that's-
study. It's not a deep dive.
And the other thing
Yeah.
that they
very interesting.
That is
the other thing they cited is that because of X's new location feature, you can go in and see where people are posting from. So go to Nick Fuentes' Twitter account, open his followers list, and if you have a few hours to kill, go one by one, open those accounts, click in their header, and see where it says they're based. And some guy who's got days of time to kill could probably go look at that.
I'm not a big fan. Like, I love everybody, and that's why I get so aggravated. The things they've done to Africa, the things they've done to Haiti, and a bunch of people around the world in Asia and everything. That's why I mistrust it. Anyway, this looks like a headpiece, in my opinion.